Is it recording? Okay, so hello everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. For those who still don't know me, my name is Michal Ochayon. I'm an immigration agent and an educational advisor at UCI Immigration Group. Today we have Mr. Gregory Pokorny with us. Gregory is Langara's International College representative. He will introduce to us the college, Langara College, which is situated in Vancouver, BC. He will provide us information about the different programs the school has to offer and talk about the range of tuition fees and living expenses. Here today, we also have Svetlana Dam, our Canadian partner, who's a certified immigration consultant. And Svetlana will be happy to answer some of your questions regarding immigration policies during this time of the COVID-19. Lastly, we also have Bogdana Bugrasheva, which is here with us today. Bogdana is our in-house educational advisor, and she too will be happy to answer some of the questions received through the webinar. Anyone that has a question could just type it in the chat box, and Bogdana will be our moderator. She will collect your questions, and at the end of the session, we'll be happy to answer them. Gregory, thank you for joining us today. Go ahead.
Okay, well, thank you for the kind introduction, Michal, and nice to join here the webinar, and nice to zoom in on Israel, and I hope everybody's having a good evening. It's 10 o'clock, just after 10 o'clock in the morning here in Vancouver on Thursday morning, so you're already in the future, and I hope everybody's doing well. So yeah, my name is Gregory Pokorny. I'm manager of international marketing and recruitment at Langara College, and I'm covering for basically Eastern Europe, CIS, and Middle East and Africa is all part of my portfolio. And with me today is my marketing assistant, Somaz Marabani. And Somaz, can you say hi?
Yes, hi everybody. Nice to be here with you. I am Solmaz. I'm Mr. Gregory Pokorny's marketing assistant, and I help with our day-to-day marketing activities with international students. And I hope this would be a good, beneficial information session for you, and we can share some good information with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Somaz. Okay, so what I'll do, what I guess for the, as Michal outlined, I'm going to give a brief presentation. We have about an hour slot here, so I will give a brief presentation followed by Svetlana will also give some notes, a brief about immigration issues, and then we'll have enough time for answering your questions. And as Bogdana mentioned, if you have some question during the presentation, you can just write it in the chat box and we'll get to it at the end of the session. So let me share my screen here. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, everybody can see the presentation. Is it on the monitor? Okay, great. Okay, so basically, just give some introduction here about the city itself and the college, and then as I mentioned about programs and tuition fees and so on. So basically, as mentioned earlier, Langara College is located in Vancouver, and if you know the geography of Canada, Vancouver is located in British Columbia, and it's on the west coast of Canada. Usually Vancouver is regularly ranked annually in the most livable cities, top 10 livable cities in the world. It's a fairly big city. It's the third largest city in Canada. Toronto is the largest, and Montreal is the second largest, and Vancouver is the third largest. But it is the largest city in the western region. It's a very multicultural city, meaning that a lot of people are born from outside of Canada and now making Vancouver their home. So over 20%, you can see median age and job opportunities. Now, these statistics for unemployment, we just give these because they were taken before the pandemic struck last year. So the numbers are a little bit different now, skewed, but hopefully they'll come down to these kind of numbers after the pandemic. So Somaz and I get a lot of questions about from students and emails, and then people that we meet at fairs and at information sessions of why college, and what is the difference between college, and university. So basically, in Canada, we have colleges and we have universities, and they're all post-secondary institutions. But at the college, it's a little bit different, where maybe there's quite a bit of choice and flexible study options available. So it's not to say that there's no choice at universities, because there is, but usually students, maybe they're a little bit undecided. They can take some courses, find out what they like, what they don't like, what they're good at. So easy to make a lot of flexibility in their study options. Another good point about college is the small class sizes. And when we talk about this, when we compare it to the big universities, sometimes at the big universities, you'll be sitting in a lecture hall with, 200 or 300 students. But at the college, it's kind of very much smaller class sizes. We keep the class sizes at Lingara, 35 students or less. There are a couple courses that do have a little bit more in first year, that have like 70 students or 60 students, but primarily most of those classes are 35 students or less. And even the science classes, 25 students or less, the labs. Another point to consider is the grades. A college like Langara kind of works on an open access policy. So requirements not as strict. It doesn't mean we take anybody, but basically if you've graduated high school or you've got your bachelor's degree and you want to do a post-degree diploma, then most of the programs you'll be able to get admitted with the English proficiency requirement. Once you get to Langara, if you want to transfer to a university, of course, you're going to have to meet the university's GPA requirements. So you will have to study hard. But to get into Langara, we kind of work on this open access policy. Another thing to consider is course load. And when I say course load, we're talking about, because Lingara works on a tri-semester, 3-semester system, that means that students are able to spread out their courses over the 3 semesters so that it's not a heavy course load. They can maybe take more courses in 2 semesters and then have 1 semester off. That's fine too. It's kind of up to the student. But if they want to spread it out, that way they're not overworked or overburdened, and their course load is a little bit lighter, and they're able to concentrate on their studies. And finally, another benefit of college is the investment. And when I talk about investment, I'm talking about affordability and tuition fees. And if you see the next slide, you can see here a tuition fee comparison. Now, this is from business. We're talking about a business program, undergraduate, and from fall last year. And you can see here the international tuition fees for institutions in British Columbia. And you can see here at University of British Columbia, UBC, international students will pay $51,000. Simon Fraser, $33,000. UVic, $24,000. And Langara, for the same courses, because they're fully transferable, you'll pay $18,700. So if you're doing 1 year or 2 years at Langara and then transferring to one of these bigger universities, you can see the amount of savings that you're going to have. So that is something that, and I'll talk about the university transfer in later slides, but that is something to consider as well. So Langara College is a public community college. And when we say public, that means funded from the government. And students are able to work part-time during their studies. And it's usually 20 hours a week. And during semester breaks, they can work full-time. This PGWP eligibility, and Svetlana will probably talk about a bit in her talk, but this is postgraduate work permit. This means that students who graduate from Langara, they are eligible once they graduate for the postgraduate work permit, the PGWP. If it's a 2-year program, like a 2-year associate degree, 2-year diploma, 2-year post-degree diploma, then the postgraduate work permit duration is 3 years. If they do a 1-year certificate, that means the postgraduate work permit will be 1 year. It matches directly. So if you do 2 years, they kind of throw in another year. They add another year. So you're eligible for 3-year postgraduate work permit. And that can lead later to, possibility, because there's a PR, permanent residency nomination programs. There's point basis for that. That could lead to permanent residency down the road. So just something else to consider. So Langara, as I mentioned, is a public community college. We're located right in the heart of Vancouver. This picture here is showing the downtown part of Vancouver. We're right on the ocean. You can see the North Shore Mountains there in the background. And this map here just shows where Langara is located. And I just showed the previous picture with the picture of downtown, and you can see at the top of the map the downtown area, and you can see the green, that's Stanley Park. But you can see the black line, that is actually the Canada line. It's the SkyTrain line, what we call the metro system or the subway system, but it's called SkyTrain here. So this SkyTrain Canada line goes from downtown all the way out to Richmond to the airport. You can see the airport near the bottom of the map. And you can see kind of right in the center, you can see the main campus of Langara. So it's a 17-minute SkyTrain ride to downtown. It's a 15-minute SkyTrain to the Vancouver International Airport. And if you take a bus to UBC, it's 15 minutes by bus. So very centrally located in a really convenient location for the college, for students coming from different parts of the city and from the suburbs. And as I mentioned, located in a quiet residential area. The SkyTrain stop is actually called Langara 49th Avenue. So you get off at the Langara 49th Avenue, you walk 5 to 7 minutes and you're at the campus. So just some facts about Langara. It was established in 1970, so it's got a long reputation, long history. And it was actually part of Vancouver Community College, and then it became its own Langara College in 1994. And it's, as I said, located 5 to 7 minute walk. There's 3 intakes a year. Now, the annual enrollment is 23,000. So a fairly big college, and any given term, remember we have 3 terms a year, you'll see about 16,000 students, and over 5,000 of those students are international students from over 90 countries. So it's a good diversity mix, and you know, the international students are a big part of the student body. Okay, so just adding on to why Langara, and these are kind of some statistics about from the students after the students graduate and they do a survey outcome. And basically you can see 94% of the students satisfied with the quality. So you're going to get a really good quality education. And 92% felt very prepared for further studies. This is important because many of the students do the university transfer. So if they start at Langara, kind of get their feet wet, get comfortable, get used to everything. It's a new country, new culture, new education system. Then they feel that they can go on to university and be prepared for that. And 82% successfully transferred to another institution. So if they are going to do the university transfer, a lot of them do end up transferring. And I'll talk about this a bit more, but Langara College is the largest transfer institution to UBC. And there you can see the tuition fees again for undergraduate, $18,762. Okay, I put these pictures here. Just one note about the weather, because you know, Canada does have this reputation as a cold country, and so one thing about the weather, we do have 4 seasons a year, but in the winter time, probably the West Coast, Vancouver, Victoria, Vancouver Island, it is probably the mildest weather you'll have in Canada. Average temperature in the winter is 0 to 5 degrees. So yes, it may seem cold compared to other parts of the world, but when other parts of Canada are -10, -15, and -20 for long stretches of time, then the 0 to 5 degrees is much better. So there's the campus map. You can see like facilities like library, gymnasium, there's a cafeteria, there's a daycare, tutoring support, and of course a medical clinic, so with a nurse and doctor on campus, and so on. And as I mentioned, there's a golf course behind the college, and it's located in this residential area. So we do get snow. It does happen from time to time, and this snow, it does look pretty when it falls, but probably in about, after this picture was taken, probably 3 days later, it was gone. So, but when it does snow occasionally, and but it would not last very long. Okay, so getting into the resources for the students, and one of the most important centers on campus is the Co-op and Career Development Center. And why is this important? It's important because many of the programs at Lingara do have a work term, a co-op, or other parts of the world know this as kind of internship. And also it helps the students after they graduate as well. So at this Co-op and Career Development Center, there's an online job board that's just for Langara students. There's workshops that are held, networking events, job fairs, career fairs, networking events, and so on. So you can see here, here's like, you get help on your resume, interview practice, how an interview is done in Canada may be different how an interview is done in Israel, or what's expected on your resume and so on. So they give some coaching and some review and practice for that. And for the programs that do have co-op or work term, sometimes it's mandatory, sometimes it's optional. Usually it will last, it's full-time paid work, so you're getting paid, and it's in your area of studies, and it lasts for about 16 weeks or 4 months. And you will get to apply the knowledge that you've gained. You develop those professional skills, and this is kind of instead of going to class. So instead of going to class, you're just going to work to a company or to an organization every day, and you're getting work, and it's something that work experience that goes on your resume. And you're able to, still work your 20 hours a week of part-time work as well. And this is very good because it dovetails for students that after they graduate, some of these students get jobs where they had their co-op and so on like that. So it's really important for students, and students really like this because of getting that real world Canadian work experience. Okay, we get a lot of questions about scholarships, and we do have a number of scholarships at Langara. These scholarships are for full-time Langara students. So we do not have any entrance scholarship program at Langara right now. We are working on one. Hopefully it'll be announced sometime later this year. But just for an entrance scholarship, we don't have that kind of program. Now, for the scholarships that are available for the current Langara students, it's for international students, domestic students, and at every department, and new applications for these scholarships are posted every term. Okay, a note about accommodation. So Langara does not have a dormitory or residence on campus. All the students stay off campus and are responsible for finding their own accommodation. So one option that we do have, though, is what we call Lingara Homestay. And there's a department at Lingara. It's called Lingara Homestay Department. And so it's not a third party. It's done by Lingara staff. And they've actually been doing this for about 25, 30 years. They do the homestay for Langara students. They do homestay for Vancouver School District, for Burnaby School District, and they match the student with the family. So the student stays with the family. It's maximum 2 students in a house. So it's not like 10 students. It's like not like that. There is a family. Each student would get their own private bedroom. So it's 2 male students or 2 female students. Own private bedroom, and then share the rest of the facilities. So kitchen and living room and so on like that. Room and meals are provided. And right now that price is $900 Canadian a month. I believe from September it will be up to $950 a month. But it's a good chance for practicing English, culture, exploring Vancouver. And they really try to match the students with the similar interests with the family. So that's one option if somebody prefers. And if you are interested in that option, all you have to do is let us know, and then I just put you in touch with the homestay department. They handle everything. They handle airport pickup, and everything like that for the application. Okay, we have a lot of virtual support for the students. Everything that was done face-to-face, and hopefully will be done face-to-face again soon, but online tutoring, writing help, research, study skills, counseling, everything from personal, career, mental health, academic counseling is all done as well for online support. Langara does have has three sports that it takes part in, and this is against other colleges. These are all student athletes, basketball, soccer or football, and golf, male and female. If you do excel in these sports, you can let us know, because then I can put you in touch with the athletic director. There are some significant tuition discounts for the student athletes that are on the sports teams, but obviously it's not, you have to have played for a long time and have to be good. It's not like, hey, I can dribble a basketball and I think I can play. Yeah, you can let us know about that as well. Okay, now getting into the important thing, probably many of you are interested in here, is about the programs at Langara. And I will just talk briefly, give one slide here about the pandemic and COVID. So of course, last year when the pandemic hit, enrollment has dropped somewhat, but students, still a lot of interest in Langara and a lot of students deferring. The last 3 semesters have been online, and we know that May 2021 will be online, just like the last 3 semesters. There was a travel ban to Canada until last October, and that's been lifted, but Langara is listed on the IRCC website as one of the institutions approved for the COVID-19 readiness plan. So if a student does have a study permit or approval in principle or the first phase of their approval, then they're able to travel to Canada and they're able to start their studies online from their home country as well. We still don't know for September 2021. That will probably be announced later this month or early April because of scheduling, but we shall see. So there's always updates on our website. Okay, so for the programs, we do have, I talked earlier about university transfer and we do have 2 bachelor's degrees. That's a Bachelor of Business Administration and a Bachelor of Science in Bioinformatics. That means you're doing all 4 years at Lingara. We do have career diploma programs, 2-year career diploma programs, post-degree diploma programs, and LEAP, Langara Eap, English for Academic Purposes. And I'll talk about each of these in the coming slides. So university transfer, this means for undergraduate, and these are regular studies. You start at Langara and then you transfer the credits to complete your degree at the university. Now, in British Columbia, there's a big transfer system in place in the whole province. So all the colleges and all the universities that are accredited, you can go to the BC Transfer Guide. It's done by the BC government. You can just plug in your course. You can, for example, economics. You can put Economics 101 Langara, hit enter. You'll see all the institutions with the equivalent course. So that means if you've done Economics 101 at Langara, then you know, okay, that equals Economics 120 at UBC. That means you don't have to take that course again. It's the same course. So that's just how it works. And you start at Langara, transfer the credits, and then we are, as I mentioned, we are the largest transfer institution to UBC. So this shows the diagram. You start at Langara, you can do 1 year. You have to do minimum 1 year. So you do 1 year, then you can transfer into year 2. Or you could do a 2-year associate degree, 60 credits, then transfer into year 3. Just remember, you're not starting over when you go to the university. There's some students think, oh, if I go to college, it's a waste of my time and money because I'm just going to go to university and start again. No, you've got the credits already because of the transfer system. So if you do year 1 at Langara, then you transfer university, you'll start in year 2. If you do 2 years at Langara, get the associate degree, you meet the requirements, then you transfer into year 3, do year 3 and 4, and then you get your bachelor's degree. So this BC transfer system, of course, works at all these institutions in BC. You can see there on your left or right side, but you can also transfer to other provinces. You can see like McGill, University of Toronto, Queens. The only thing is you do have to check directly with that university to make sure they accept the Langara credits. The them do because they've had experience of Langara students transferring there. And if UBC accepts our credits, then most of the institutions will accept them as well. But there is an extra step about going to make sure from the university. I'm not going to read all these, but these are just the areas for associate degree university transfer. So you can see arts and business, health, science and technology, humanities and social sciences. So those are all areas where you could start, do 1 year or 2 years, get your associate degree, and then transfer to the bigger university. Now, our career programs, and I'll talk specifically about some of these that I think are maybe popular in the Israeli market. But these are 2-year diplomas, practical education, hands-on learning. These are kind of designed by the input from the community advisory committees. They're taught by very dedicated instructors that are in the industries as well. And some admission to these programs can be competitive, so there's limited seats. We always tell people to apply early. And these are some of these 2-year diplomas, not all, but you can see like business, fine arts, journalism, kinesiology. The early childhood education is a very popular program. There's a big demand for this program in BC because of nursery and daycare. And this is actually a 2-year diploma, but it's actually finished in 1 year. So it's kind of like a front loaded or kind of there's no semester breaks or anything. So it's basically done in 1 year, but it's counted as a 2-year diploma. So you're eligible for the 3-year postgrad work permit. So that's very popular. Criminology.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And animation programs and so on like that. We do have the 1-year certificates, as I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation. Remember, when you do 1 year, then your postgraduate work permit will be for 1 year. So we have those in social service, internet, web technology, film arts, and so on. Okay, for our post-degree diplomas, most people know this as postgraduate, okay? So we call post-degree diplomas PDD. Remember, everybody, this is not master's program, okay? In Canada, master's programs are administered by universities. Langara College is not a university, it's a community college. At the colleges, they will administer what the postgraduate, post-degree diploma. These are higher diplomas, but we cannot call it a master's. So you do need a bachelor's degree, though, is the main requirement. It's very practical education. There's a work term on most of these, and it's best to apply early because these do fill up quickly because they're cohort based. And these are our 10 post-degree diploma programs. Everything in the business, marketing, accounting, web and mobile is very popular there's 2 streams, 2 different programs. Web and mobile for app design and web and mobile app development. So the difference being design more on the user interface and then the development more on the back end and the coding and so on like that. Data analytics is a very popular program. This is your data analysis, big data, and so on like that does a cross section of industries. And that's a very popular program. Nursing practice in Canada. Now, this is a very popular program as well, but the big thing here is you have to be a nurse already. So you'd have to be a nurse in Israel, have your license, and have a bachelor of nursing, or I'm not sure in how it is in Israel, but a diploma in nursing, and have a license, current licensure. Then you'd be eligible for this program. After this program, and then you do your equivalent, your exams, then you could be a nurse in BC. So that's another one that's very popular.
It's important to note that this program actually puts together everything, all the requirements in one place, because many people that are registered nurses that come to Canada, they get lost in the process, and it takes them sometimes 3 years, 4 years to complete the entire process. So this would help them to put everything together.
Yeah, and that's part of the program, because once they finish this program, then they have access to Netflix and the exams and everything. So it really kind of coordinates everything or collates everything together. Yeah. And the other 2 at the bottom there, supply chain and logistics. I wanted to mention this because it's also very popular. Because Vancouver is a port city, the Port of Vancouver, there's a lot of shipping, a lot of freight, and a lot of cargo that comes in and out of the port every day. This is a huge, huge industry, and one that these graduates are in high demand as well. So for supply chain and logistics. Okay, so for the English requirements, we kind of separate these in category 1, 2, and 3, but the main requirement for IELTS and TOEFL, you can see 6.5 for category 2. That's most of the post-degree diploma programs and diploma programs. Category 3, most of the undergraduate. We are accepting Duolingo for the next 3 semesters, so for May, for September, and for next January. So a Duolingo online test, you need a score of 110. After next January, we don't know if it's going to be accepted after that. I can just tell you that for the next 3 semesters, it will be accepted. Okay, we also have Langara Eap. That's for those that need to improve their English. If they don't meet the English requirement, they can start with Langara Eap or Leap. It's each level is 7 weeks. It does cost $2,950 for one level, but that could be something. But if you meet the English requirement, then you don't have to worry about this. Okay, we do have a Center for Entertainment Arts, and this is a separate kind of separate campus. And this CEA, we call it, this is kind of dealing with all the animation programs. So if you have a background in animation, visual effects, game design, game technology, this is a big industry in Vancouver. Vancouver is known as kind of Hollywood North. There's tons of films, television production, movies that are filmed here. And there's a lot of animation studios as well. And these graduates are in high demand. They're taught by industry professionals. And again, if you graduate with this, you're eligible for the 3-year postgraduate work permit. The big requirement here is you do need a portfolio. So you have to be into this, and you have to have some artwork and portfolio that will be reviewed to see if you get accepted into the program. Okay, so I'm just finishing up here soon, but these are the high demand occupations in Vancouver. These are not all of them, but you can see, like I mentioned, supply chain, programming, accounting, animation, film, which I just talked about, the web design, nursing, and so on like that, early childhood educations for daycare and nursery. And on that note, the Ministry of Labor in British Columbia, every year they release a labor market outlook. And in 2019, they released this outlook for the next 10 years. I post this slide here just to show that in the next 10 years, they forecast that a lot of job openings, 860,000 job openings in British Columbia. And most of those, honestly, most of those will be in the greater Vancouver area. But for these jobs, you'll be eligible if if you have some kind of credential, so diploma, certificate, bachelor's degree, professional degree. And if you're coming to Canada and studying and then doing a postgrad work permit and then maybe permanent residency, you're going to be right in the middle of this kind of 10-year outlook. And there could be a lot of jobs that are going to be available for students. So I just wanted to point that out as well. Okay, so finally, just the application process, and I think UCI group can help with this, our partner there in Israel, but you have to submit your meet their academic requirements, so proof of your graduation, submit official transcripts. Now, when we say submit official transcripts, we mean we need scanned copies of those transcripts. Have to be scanned from the original, scanned in color. If they're in another language, Hebrew or some other language, then they have to be we need notarized English translations. And of course, your English language proficiency, a scan of your IELTS TRF or your TOEFL. Duolingo, you have to send the results directly from Duolingo to Langara. So just the screenshot that they send you is not enough. We have to have the sent from Duolingo. Other possible requirements, as you can see, depends on the program. It could be resume, interview, portfolio review, and so on. So once Langara receives all the documents, document evaluation could take about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, if sooner for complete application. Sometimes when documents go missing, we need to correspond. It takes longer, but for complete applications, usually 2 to 3 weeks. Offer letter is issued. Once you receive the offer letter and you think, okay, yep, I want to do this, I want to go for this program, then students must pay initial tuition deposit of $6,000 Canadian. Once Langara receives that, then the official letter of acceptance is issued, and then you apply for the visa there in Israel. One note: if the visa is refused, I mean, hopefully not, but it does happen. If it's refused, then we need the refusal letter from IRCC. We need the refund appeal before the semester starts, and we refund the full $6,000 back. So we can't keep your money, but if you don't apply before the semester starts, then you may lose the commitment fee of $1,500. So it's very important that we get all that information beforehand, but hopefully it doesn't come to that, but I'm just letting you know. Okay, so just finally wrapping up here. I mean, I've talked, I went a little bit longer, sorry about that, but why Langara? It's, as I said, it's a public institution, great location right in the center of Vancouver, is one of the most livable cities in the world. One of the largest transfer programs in BC, small class sizes, lower tuition fees compared to bigger universities. We have a lot of diploma, certificate, post-degree diploma programs and training, academic EAP, and as I said, you're able to work off campus and you're automatically eligible for the postgraduate work permit. So there's my contact information, gpicorni@langara.ca, but please contact our local partner UCI group there. And Somaz, who was at the beginning of the presentation, she had to leave early, but there's her email as well. And all our social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so on are all there as well. So thank you everybody for your attention. And I think we can open up for Q&A or no, sorry, I think Svetlana is going to talk. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut into
Okay.
your.
So it's fine, don't worry. So hi guys, thank you very much, Gregory. It was very informative. I believe we all had a lot of new information to learn from your presentation, and I hope it will be very useful to people who listen to this webinar. I would like to introduce myself and tell a bit about the immigration process nowadays. So my name is Svetlana Demb, as it was told before. I'm a licensed immigration consultant, and my partner Michal is in Israel. She is my agent, and we all work together to help our clients achieve their dreams and come to Canada. And we do it very successfully. Yeah, we just wanted to share with you that just today, right? Can I share it? Because I'm so happy.
Yes, of course, please do.
Two of our clients got approvals for study permits in Canada.
One yesterday also.
And one yesterday, and this is during Corona. So I would like to start with the good news, and I believe that they are the category that received the biggest quantity of good news are students, potential students, and lately we see that it takes somewhere between 1 week to mostly 1 month, but it doesn't go there usually upon completion of biometrics. So it's really fast. We went back to the processing time before COVID.
Yeah, we actually had some clients approved 2 days after the biometrics were done.
Yep, that's right. So I would say a week, but it's very surprising, and so yeah, lots of good things actually happened to students due to coronavirus, and let me tell you about some of them. So as Gregory told you, postgraduate work permit is something that I would say most of our international students, they don't only going to study to achieve a highest dream and receive Canadian education. It's the dream to become a permanent resident, right? And in order to do that, the fastest and the safest way would be to obtain Canadian experience. So one of the sectors that Gregory was talking about is co-ops. This is really a good step into Canadian company, and it's, in most of the cases, our students are able to secure employment with the co-op partners, but sometimes you just to understand what it is to feel the Canadian culture and have something written in your resume, which is Canadian experience. It's very important to have it. And I would highly recommend you guys, when you look for program which contains co-op or internship. It's very important. Another thing that is related to postgraduate work permit is that's right. When you study 1 year, you receive postgraduate work permit for 1 year. When you study 2 years, you achieve the biggest one, 3 years. But if you if for some reason you are not sure how to go next year and how will it, how will you succeed? It's a new country, it's a new language, it's a new culture, everything is new. So you can always start with 1 year program, add another 1 year program at the end of the previous one, and then apply for postgraduate work permit. They will combine your periods of education, and you will receive the postgraduate work permit for 3 years. The only thing here is you cannot apply for postgraduate work permit after 1 year and then study again. You won't be eligible anymore. Postgraduate work permit is only one-time opportunity in a lifetime. But that's what we thought before. Now it's not so. Now, another good thing that happened to students.
Thanks to the COVID-19.
Thanks to the COVID-19, which we never would thought that it can, we would never imagine that it's even possible, right, Michal?
Yeah.
Because, it's every student who studied in Canada and his status either expired or is going to expire now until June this year will be eligible for additional 18 months of open work permit. This situation is it's very unusual. So we all see that a lot of things going on now are related to immigration. I wouldn't talk now about the 27,000 Canadian experience class job, but it's one of the important.
I think it's something that we should note that currently
Yeah.
immigration put emphasis on Canadian experience. So we saw 3 weeks ago over 27,000 people were dropped from the express entry pool,
Yep.
with the lowest 75 points and up.
Yeah, it means that whoever was in the pool who has English level 5 or level 7, depends on the profession, and has 1 year of Canadian experience, got invited to apply for PR. So guys, it gives us a lot of hope. And yeah, and heads up, really COVID making good for future students.
And also another thing is right now, this is the most popular way to enter into Canada. This is the
fastest way.
Yeah, the express entry process takes shorter. It's a shorter period of time within Canada than if you would apply abroad.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a difference between them.
Yeah, and another thing that I would quickly touch is what's going on right now. How can you enter actually Canada? So as Gregory told, things change so rapidly, and whatever I say right now may be not not relevant tomorrow. But as of now, everyone who enters Canada has to do COVID test 72 hours before the entry. The vaccination has no weight right now for Canada because we are not vaccinated. You are, but we are not. Only about 2 million Canadians are vaccinated at this moment, and it's nothing. And yes, in future, we hope that it will influence somehow. Right now, it's not. Another thing to say is that you have a mandatory 3 days a hotel accommodation that you have to take. It doesn't matter if you come alone with little kids, it doesn't matter. You have to stay, you have to pay. I would say average price for this hotel,
or if you're vaccinated too, it doesn't matter also.
Yes, it doesn't. I would say average price from the clients who already came here is about $2,000 per family per 3 days. And even if your test results come back negative before and you want to leave, they will not refund you. So it's something to note and know. We do think that it might be waived in the nearest future, because at least for students and essential workers, because it's not too reasonable. But we want to talk about reasons for our government making the decisions. Right now, it is what it is. That's how it goes. And yeah, and I think that's it. I don't see any questions to answer, but if there are any, I would be very happy to answer. We will be very happy to assist you guys and fulfill your dreams. Our team is we give full coverage from program choice until the application and much after. We stay in touch. I would say not almost every one of our clients stays with us in touch once they are here, and we are looking for opportunities to apply for PR.
Yeah, we escort the client all the way through until their PR is approved. And it is important to say that we provide free educational consulting to choose the right program, the right pathway. Also, we don't just choose the educational program, we think about the entire package, about their strategy, how you will become a PR. And there's no such commitment to us. If the student wishes to proceed on his own with a study permit, that's an option. But we, however, provide the free of charge educational consulting.
Yeah, if I can just add, from what Svetlana mentioned, sorry. So for the students that are coming, I mean, if the student was coming like now or tomorrow, so Langara does support because the student will need a travel letter. And we do have quarantine support at Langara, so they can help with the list of hotels and so on like that. But we need a kind of a quarantine report, how you're going to quarantine and so on like that. And then Langara will issue this travel letter that I think that all students have to show before they're coming over to Canada. So that's the situation now, and it is what it is, as was mentioned. But these things could, if it could be waived in the future, let's see. But this is how it is right now at this time. 6 months from now, it's probably something different, but we shall see.
Okay, Bogdana?
Okay, yeah, now some questions over here.
Okay.
We have only one question from the student, and I have a couple of questions from myself, which I know will appear later from the students as well. So the question from the student is, do your campus have any physician assistant program? We have, as far as I understand, you don't have physician assistant, but you do have some health science related program, right?
Yeah, so physician, you're talking like medical doctor, right? Like this kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's we don't really have anything like that. We did have a healthcare assistant program, but actually right now that program is suspended. So we don't have that one. It used to be a 1-year healthcare assistant program, but that's been suspended. But we do have the undergraduate and diploma program for, undergraduate for health science. Yes, but that's studying like maybe you finished high school and you want to get into health sciences or so on. So we do have that, but unfortunately no physician assistant program.
Yes, and there is a practical nursing also program for students who have bachelor degree in nursing from Israel.
Yeah, so the nursing practice in Canada, we do have an undergraduate nursing program, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, but that's only open to Canadian or domestic students.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite popular, but yeah, but for any student coming from Israel, they'd have to be a nurse already.
Sure.
I would like to, I would just like to clarify for the associate degree. So if a person studies for 2 years, is he eligible for the 3-year post-secondary work permit?
Yes.
And another question regarding the transfer, he complete the 2 years program. Would he need to continue for the 3rd and 4th year right away, or he could first work like, I don't know, a year or 2 years under the postgraduate work permit and then continue his studies at the university?
Yeah, they're able to they're able to take a long break. It doesn't matter the number of years. So once they've it's a good question, because I found this out from my director, actually, because he actually many years ago he did this type of program. He did a 2-year degree diploma, and then he just worked for I think 5 or 6 or 7 years or something like that. Like, he's Canadian, but still. And then he's able to use those credits 7 years later or 6-7 years later and transfer them to university and complete his bachelor's degree. So it is definitely possible. And and the other thing too is if they go ahead and get their post work permit and then maybe
Exactly.
residency, then they're going to pay a lot cheaper fees, right? So
Exactly. So this is the thing that I really wanted to emphasize, that that could reduce the expenses for people who wish to do the bachelor degree in Canada. So they could do the associate degree for 2 years, gain their permanent residence, and then get the tuition fees as a domestic student.
yep. So I mean it's a bit of a process because they have to get the 3-year work permit and then they have to get the points and everything like that to get permanent residency. But that's definitely a pathway that students do take.
And the
And I
same
would
is relevant for any 2-year diploma program, in fact, because if you're in fact, it is also relevant for the 2-year diploma program, because if you're studying 2-year diploma programs, there are many university transfer programs. You can transfer course by course, and so continue studying bachelor degree. Okay, perhaps not from the 3rd year of the bachelor degree, but from the 2nd year for sure, or a little bit later.
One note though, there is one exception for that in Langara, because not when you're doing the 2-year diplomas, I'm not talking about the associate degree, but 2-year diplomas, you could be able to transfer most of the courses, but maybe not all of them. And one prime example is engineering. We have applied science and engineering diploma. It's a 2-year diploma. You can get that 2-year diploma, but when you transfer for engineering, you cannot transfer into 3rd year at a university for engineering. They won't allow it. University will. You have to transfer into year 2. And then you're going to specialize in some kind of engineering, civil or mechanical or electrical or whatever. But in that case, so engineering is a little bit a unique example. You can't transfer into year 3. But yeah, you can get the 2-year diploma, make sure you get the grades, because usually engineering needs high grades, and then you can go into year 2 for engineering.
Okay, I would like to ask one more question. There is a specific program that especially interests me. I have some students that are interested in this program, and maybe you could give us some information about that, about the Digital Music Production Certificate Program.
Yes. Okay, let me just check my notes here.
I saw that it's the students are enrolled in the evenings, so like they have the entire day free.
Yeah, it's a 1-year program, and so the cost of that program is just under $18,000, and there are some additional fees for supplies. Yeah, it's like you said, we've done in the evenings, and to be honest, in my markets, if you do have some interested students, that would be great. I don't have much experience with students applying to this program, but
Okay.
because it's quite specialized, right? It's dealing with
Yeah,
music.
it sounds fun.
Yeah.
It sounds fun. It feels like going out instead of studying.
Well, but I mean,
But
there's an industry for that, right? Everything needs to,
Yeah.
music and sound effects and all that for radio or advertising and so on like that. So, and social media and everything. So, yeah, it is. I know that program is. They do have a lot of domestic students, but they do have a few international students also apply for it too.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I find more information about that, I can send it to you, Michal. Yeah.
Well, I will be in touch with you regarding the specific student too.
Okay, great.
Okay, now my questions are more regarding the EAP program. The student can start, in case the student has it's not enough, or IELTS or TOEFL, whatever, or Duolingo, not enough to start the program immediately, he can take the EAP program and get conditional offer for the academic program.
Not all the programs.
Not all the programs.
Yeah. So it's not like all the person can do LEAP and then go have a conditional admission to all the programs. It's not all the programs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And can you tell which programs are not eligible for such program for sure?
Yeah, just 1 second here. Oh, I can't remember this. Just a second.
Because most of our really around, I think about 40% of our students often prefer to apply through the EAP program.
Okay, so in the chat box, I put the link to the program guide, and that's actually, this was just updated yesterday, so it's a brand new program guide. It's different than the one that I've sent before, but it's if you open that link, you can just go to where it says conditional admission on the if you scroll down, there's the fourth column. So if it says why, then most of the undergraduate, like university transfer, associate degree, they're yes, but not all the diploma programs. So it says yes there if it is possible. So that means they could start with LEAP, get the required because we have 8 levels of LEAP, or sometimes they apply for LEAP and then they do a Duolingo and they get 110. So then they could say, okay, please transfer my fees over from LEAP to regular studies, and then I can.
That's what I wanted to ask. Yeah, in case the student applies through the LEAP and then they will pass necessary result before the start of the program, they can transfer the cost towards the academic program, right?
Honestly, what I would recommend in this case, because I get it, the LEAP does cost a bit of money, and if the student is really close to the cut, like close to the 110 in Duolingo or the 6.5 in IELTS, it probably would be better to try to attain the grade that they need, like the 6.5 or the 110. But if they are a lot lower, and the LEAP would be very beneficial for them, because it does prepare the students very well for academic. It's not just English conversation, ESL. It's preparing the student for essays, for academic courses. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
Okay. For example, the situation: the student applied, the student passed Duolingo, the result is not enough, and the student requires 2 terms of LEAP program, let's say starting from May to get accepted for September for academic program. And then what is the deadline for this student to provide the necessary English result to change his mind regarding the LEAP program? For example, at the moment he has let's say Duolingo 90 and takes 2 semesters of LEAP program from May, and then in April he receives Duolingo 110. Would it be not too late to
it depends on the program. If it's if it's one of our diploma programs, you'd have to check with me, and I could check with admissions to see. But if it's undergraduate regular studies, probably no problem. Post degree program, like we only have 3 of them that have the conditional admission. That's business, marketing, and accounting. It's probably not going to be in time because they're going to be filled up.
I see. Yeah, they're gonna be filled up, but don't we apply through the LEAP to book a place in the program from September as well?
That's correct, yes. So basically, if the person if they got the conditional admission for, let's say, post-degree diploma in business administration, they got conditional admission for that business program in September, but they need to take LEAP first, then they do that. But if they got the 110 that they needed, you just have to let us know, and I have to transfer the fees to the regular studies.
Good, thank you. Another question is regarding withdrawal. I do have a couple of students who have questions after the admission, whether they can arrive to Canada and withdraw from the program. Of course, we strongly don't recommend doing that, because in this case, the college has to let the embassy know that the student has canceled the education. And what is the amount of the refund in case the student just changed his mind, for example, or decided to change DLI? He has paid already the deposit of 6,000 Canadian. Are they not all of this amount is not refundable, or a part of this amount is not refundable?
They would lose $1,500, the commitment.
Mhm.
So like even before, let's say like the student applied, they got admitted, and then they paid the $6,000 tuition deposit, and then they applied for their visa, or they didn't, maybe they just changed their mind or family circumstance or something, and they say, listen, I can't go now, I'm going to go to another college in Australia, I don't know, whatever. There's all kinds of examples. They then, in that case, Langara would keep the $1,500, so they would get $4,500 back.
Yeah, I had such situation during the quarantine, for example.
Yeah.
The student who was going to go and was adamant, and after the 1 year of the quarantine, he just wasn't able to go anymore. He lost everything.
Situations change, and then
Yeah.
but but if it's a refusal from IRCC, then as I said, the refusal letter. And one note here, I just wanted to, because we were talking about application deadlines.
Mhm.
So Langara opens up, just to keep this in mind, Langara opens up the intake, the registration for the intakes 11 months before the intake starts. So for example, January 2022, we just opened that registration up on February 1st, 2021, like 1 month ago. This becomes important for some of those PDD programs that fill up quickly. So for example, supply chain, I think after 1 month, it's almost full. There's only 2 spots, and basically I think the first day they had 10 people apply like right away. So it's like, so for some of those, just keep that in mind. But for regular studies, undergraduate, and most of the diploma programs, it's fine, but just keep that in mind, 11 months before the intake. So next intake will be May 2022. We'll open that on June 1st.
By the way, where can the student or we can see on the website whether the program is opened or not? On the program description?
Not on that program guide, they can't, but basically what we tell the students is and you can check this too, when you go to EPBC, the Education Planner BC portal, if you put in the term and you put in the program, and if that program is in the drop-down menu, then it's there, it's available. If it's not, that means it's probably been closed.
Good. But not all the programs are on EPBC. For example, the continuing education 3D animation, they are not on EPBC, right?
Right. So please, for those, any kind of continuing studies on that program guide that says, if it says CS, LEAP, for example, LEAP is CS, continuing. When I say CS, I mean continuing studies. Supply chain and logistics post-degree diploma program is CS. Health, safety, environmental compliance is CS. Digital music, which Mihal just asked about, is CS. So for those programs, they actually apply through the Lingara fee portal site, and it's a PDF application. Then you basically have best to maybe contact me, and I can let you know. Or even the CEA, the animation game technology programs, and so on.
And 2 more questions, and I promise the last 2 short questions. The average co-op program is 4 months, 16 weeks, and 300 working hours. What is the minimum salary at the moment per hour in British Columbia?
Yeah, you put me on the spot here. I should know this. I think it's 14. I think it's like $14.80 or something like that. So almost.
And what is average for students?
So basically, I mean, it will depend on the job. Like, I mean, students are working, they're working restaurants, they're working cafes, they're working gas stations, grocery stores, warehouses, some are tutoring. So I would say like they're probably going to make between that minimum wage, $14.80 or whatever, and $20 an hour, let's say. Like, I mean, hard for me to say exactly, but you think about that. Like, let's say if it's $15 an hour and they're 20 hours a week, that's $300 a week times 4 in a month. You're looking at $1,300 that they can make a month. Now, it's not meaning that they're going to be able to pay their tuition and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
but it does help pay for living costs and pocket money and that kind of thing. So, and I would say probably 80% of the students, domestic and international students, work during their studies. They just, it's good for their, they meet people through their work and so on like that. It makes
Yeah,
them,
it's good for the experience, and I'm interested more during the co-op because it's really it's start of the return of the investment during the studies, and this is why it's always good.
and as
And
I said in the co-op, when they're doing the co-op, that's part of the program. So they're not going to class. They're actually going to work 8 hours a day, whatever, like 5 days a week. But they're able to still maybe manage their hours if they're working, if they have a part-time job. Let's say they're working at a, I don't know, a Starbucks or I don't know, like a gas station, then they could still do their part-time work.
yeah, and Max, you were talking about the scholarships during the education. What is usually the minimum and maximum amount of such scholarship available to international students?
For those ones that are for the academic, they're merit-based. They're between, I believe, between $1,500 and $2,000. And they're in almost every department in every semester. It's just, and as I said, we are trying to develop a entrance scholarship program, but it's not developed yet. So yeah, hopefully that can be something that we can publicize later. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're
That's all my questions. Sorry.
Oh, it's good. It's good to get the questions because then and then when students ask you, you have that information. So
Yeah,
so
exactly.
please keep that link to the program guide that I put in the chat box, and you can and that's because if you have that link, whenever we update, if there's new requirements or something, that is updated on our website. So
Excellent. And we will also have this recording put on our Facebook group and on YouTube. So any of the people, the students that didn't come today, they will be able to watch it later. Thank you very much for everyone, and especially you, Gregory, for having us today and providing us so much information.
no, it's great to finally meet everybody, and
Yeah.
it was nice to present, and yeah, I will after I close the session, then the recording will record on my computer, and I can send you the link for that, and then you can share.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
well,
you,
I
everyone.
wish everybody a great evening and a great weekend, and yeah, I'm jealous. You guys are totally opening up, and boy,
And we
Yeah.
are not, right, Gregory?
where are you, Svetlana? Are you in Toronto or where are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah, that's more the same here. So
Hopefully soon.
yes.
All right, Svetlana and Gregory, have a great day. Everyone, have a good evening and a nice weekend.
Good weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.